Okay, here we are on a lovely sunny autumn afternoon in the UK. Unfortunately, we've got a real pain in the arse job to finish off here, and this job is the windscreen wiper mechanism for a Porsche 944. As you can see, I've already removed this section from here, and it's a real pain in the arse to remove and remedy. And the reason I've taken it out is because what was happening was that, as you can see, the bar has been popping off the mechanism, so only one of the windscreen wipers has been working. Unfortunately, these you can't buy just these little plastic ball joints to replace them. You have to buy the whole bit, and the whole bit from Porsche is pretty expensive. Don't know why they just can't sell you this bar on its own with the bit in. I don't know, but anyway. So what I did was, this was actually the original one that came off, and I ordered this one from a parts place, but this one was actually no good because you can just pull the ball joint off with your hand, so that's never going to stay on if I fit it back. So what I've had to do is I've had to go back to the original one, and what I've done is I've drilled all the way through the ball joint and put a washer and tapped a screw into the end of the ball joint so that it holds the arm on. So we've still got flexibility, and I've done the same with the other end, just because I don't want to do this job again. So hopefully this will be a decent enough fix to get my car through the MOT and hopefully save me a small fortune. So I'm not going to show you how I took the whole thing off because it took ages, but I'm going to show you how to put it back on, which will probably still take quite a while, but at least you'll have some idea of how to do it, because this isn't something that's detailed in the Haynes Porsche manual or the proper Porsche workshop manual. So once you've got this off the car, it might be a good idea if you remove the circlips from here and re-grease these pivot points, because this one was pretty gummed up and needed a bit more lubrication. Okay, so here we go. Before we insert this, we need to make sure that the bar is pushed fully to the left, to that end. This helps us insert it under the trim at the bottom of the windscreen, and we also need to make sure that these lipped rubber bits push up inside these parts here. Don't forget to subscribe. Okay, so we get this here. see I'm just making sure that the rubber part comes up. So then we take a rubber washer and place that on the top. And then we take the rubber dome that also goes on. And we just put the nut on just to hold things in place, do it finger tight, stop it moving around. And then we do the same on the other side. So rubber washer. Dome piece and nut. Be very careful with these nuts because it's easy to cross thread them as it's only a fine thread. Okay, next up we take the piece of vibration damping rubber and insert that under there. And then there's a washer and a nut that goes at the top, like that. Take a 10mm spanner. Socket on it instead. Okay, next up we're going to take the support strut for this trim that's around the windscreen and reinsert that. It just goes under here like this. I've had to improvise with some shilling washers because the thread on my one is stripped in the middle to a certain point, so I've only got thread right on the end. So I'm just going to put them on there, and then a 10mm nut on the end. Just hold that in place. We need a screwdriver, so let's just get a screwdriver. And then we've got this plastic buffer, windscreen buffer that just sits underneath the windscreen. It's got a couple of screws in it, and we just line it up with the holes and fit it back in. Just use the socket to tighten up this. Okay, next we're going to reinstall the motor. So that just slides under here and it attaches with 3 10mm bolts. So we just need to position that in the right spot and line up the holes. Just want to get each one in position before we tighten up. Okay, then once the motor's in, we connect up the electrics. It just slides on. Like so. There we go. Now, before we connect up the arm to the spindle here, we need to put the battery back in to reset the position of the motor. So we're going to do that first and rehook up the battery. Okay, now that we've got the linkage in, I'm just going to tighten up the nuts on the wiper posts now that everything's set in place. So I'm using a 20mm ring spanner for this. Right, next up, before we connect this, we just want to make sure that the spindle is set to 0. So we need to just cycle the wipers once just to get this to reset back to 0. So we can see the spindle is turning. Now we're just going to turn the wipers off and it will go to 0. So now that we have the spindle to 0, we need to connect the wiper arm. And then we have the locking nut, 10mm locking nut that goes on top. Okay, so that all seems to be working properly. Right, now time to connect the wipers.
So we've got the wipers in place.
So the wipers are in place. Got a washer and then a 13mm nut on each one. Right, let's see if it works. Well, there you go. If you like this video, please check back later for more videos. Almost forgot to fit this, I don't know, I guess what they call it, like a scuttle plate or something like that. Unfortunately, you have to fit it, you have to take the battery out again to get it to fit in. But it just goes under here. Like that. There we Some of you may point out that I haven't fitted the cover that goes back over here yet. That's because I'm waiting for some butyl tape to secure it back down with, so that this is semi weather tight. But yeah, that's the last part of the jigsaw.